Let me ask you something. At some point after age 50, did you start to feel like the things that used to work for you just stopped working? Not wrong, just slightly unfinished. Most women, I have to say, don't talk about this shift. But if you've crossed into midlife, you've probably felt it. And before we go further, yes, I know I'm sitting here looking very casual because for a long time, this is exactly how many of us move through the world, right? It was effortless. We just threw our hair up in a scrunchie, right? We threw on the shirt that felt comfortable, the pants. We left the yoga class or the exercise class and went to pick up the kids. Well, yes, that worked. And it was quick, right? We didn't have to put much thought into it. And truly, for years, that worked beautifully. That effortlessness carried us. We could go quick. We could go from thing to thing. We could dress casual. We could not take any time on our hair. We said yes to everything, right? And the reason is surprisingly simple. Effortlessness works when we're young. After 50, something else starts to matter more, and that equation quietly changes. The same speed starts to feel scattered. The same casualness, here I am, starts to feel unfinished. Not wrong, just incomplete, messy, not together. And if you've ever stood in front of your closet and thought, why doesn't this feel like me anymore? You're not alone. Now, I have to say, I misunderstood this shift at first. I could feel it, but I misunderstood it. I thought I needed something new, a new city, a new wardrobe, a new rhythm. I thought the answer was, truly adding something. But eventually, I realized something much, much simpler. Midlife isn't about adding, it's about editing. Youth is expansive. Midlife is precise. And sometimes the smallest edits change everything. Nothing dramatic changed, right? Nothing. I'm still deciding on the earrings. I didn't become someone new. I simply edited. Living in Paris, actually, for several years, as you all know, actually helped me to understand this. The women there actually do not add more and more as they age, they refine. And that was a great lesson for me to learn. That small shift actually starts to show up everywhere in our lives, how we dress, how fast we move, how we speak, what we tolerate, how we spend our time, who we spend our time with. Effortlessness, I love that word, effortlessness filled space when we were younger. But after 50, presence fills the room, and presence requires intention. That's a shift most women feel after age 50, but rarely ever talk about it. And I think that there's a deeper psychological reason that this happens. And it's not really about age, it's about identity. I'm going to unpack this more fully in this week's Substack post because I think the concept of identity as we age deserves more space than we have here on YouTube. But here's a question to ask yourself. Where in your life are you still relying on effortlessness when what you really want now is steadiness? Not reinvention, just recalibration. So maybe this stage of life isn't about fading. Maybe it's about shedding the speed, shedding the noise, the overextension, the things we just don't need anymore. We're not fading, we're editing. And what remains becomes much more deliberate. So if this idea resonates with you, I explore recalibration, what that means, more deeply each week over in Substack. And inside the next chapter, Salon, which is part of Substack, where women 50 plus are really intentionally designing what comes next instead of just drifting into it, is where we do the deep work, the fun work, the get-togethers, the chats, the conversations. Both are linked below. And, one thing I do want you to do, though, is to tell me in the comment section, where are you noticing this shift in your own life? Remember, it might start with a feeling. You just can feel something shifting and you don't really know what it is yet. But share with all of us. We're in this community together. And I'll see you next week. A biento.